Okay. Hey everyone. How you doing today? Okay. I hope everyone's having a great day today. Hey guys, how's everyone doing? I hope everyone's having a great day today. 3 years. Thank you, Mr. Waifu. Thank you for being a member of my channel for 3 years. I appreciate it, man. Thanks. Big fan of the channel. Thank you. Whoever needs help selling something, just send me an invite. I will help you out. Okay. Yep. New update out? No, not yet. Let's help Caliber. Yay, it's our man Professional. Gotta say, I love your clickbait Twitter post. What inspired you to make it? No, it's just, I just felt like messing around, and I decided to make like a funny post, and so I made that funny post. That one with the GTA clickbait post I made. It was 2 months pro. Also, besides the Group 6 approach for the big con, what's your second favorite disguise to enter the casino with? The Bugstars GTA plug. That's my favorite one. Your great grandpa was in World War I? Did you send me a PSN your PSN name? You taught me how to be a good player and not a griefer all the way from Scotland. Thank you, Ali.
You ever wanted...
I know I added you, Wyoming, but Juice, wait, yeah. Oh, this mission is pretty easy. What's up, Pro? How do you do? I'm running to P5 to get on PlayStation 5. To get on GTA Online. Okay, Edwin. Well, if you need help, I can help you sell something today. Thank you for the super chat. I turn 21 years old tomorrow. Happy early birthday, Owen Titan. Yeah, I called my dad today. Wished him happy Father's Day. No, we're probably not gonna get a GTA 6 trailer before the DLC. No, probably not gonna happen. Need help with anything? No, I just want to help people. We could go to the casino a little bit later on, I haven't been to the casino in GTA in some time. How are you? I'm good. How are you? No, I never played Life is Strange. What is going on over here? What the hell is that? What the? Whoa, what the hell? What the hell was that? What on earth? Did you guys just see that? I hope that didn't glitch out on my screen. What is this? What the? Cars are spawning on the highways. I don't know what the hell that was. Yeah, I'll probably make that into a short. Bro looking like SpongeBob right now with the red tie. Well, thank you, Zach. I see your message, Mr. Wick. What's up, man? Wait, what do you mean, Frankie? What's next LA Noire video? Either tomorrow or the next day. I wanted to fill a full hangar. I can help you with a few of those. I can't wait to see your cosplay for Red Alert Turf 2 if you ever play it. Like, imagine seeing your, you showing up like a Soviet US general. Oh, thank you, Gunner. Did I do the contact mission for $2 million? What are you talking about? Oh, contract mission. Contract, I'm sorry. I read that too quickly. Pro, can you speak Spanish? Yo hablo español. Yo estudio español todos los días. Mi español es muy malo y yo estudio español mucho. I hope that was bad. I hope that wasn't. I hope that wasn't bad. I hope that was good. Yeah, I hope that wasn't bad. I've been practicing. I study every day. I try to get better, but hello, Pro. How's life, my American brother? I'm doing good, Rashawn. How are you? Muy bien, professional. Thank you. Wish I could play with you, but I have work. Sorry. It's okay, Nikki. Thank you for stopping by, and thank you for the super chat. Can you understand Spanish when other people talk? It depends. If I talk, I talk to a lot of Mexican players when I play DMZ, because I play DMZ a lot, which is on Modern Warfare 2, and so there's a lot of people from Mexico that I play with, and so I do understand. When I speak basic Spanish to them, I kind of do understand what they're saying, but when they're speaking like really fast, I'm not gonna understand. If they speak kind of slowly, I can understand basically what they're saying, but if they talk really fast, I won't understand. I'm enjoying your LA Noire videos. Thank you. Thank you, Rashawn, and thank you, Nikki, for the super chats. And thank you, Zach. He was a general in the ARVN that came to power in a coup. He was bad, but he got a point with that quote. Oh. Okay, Gunner. Next Ace Attorney one tomorrow, probably. I just haven't had the time, Mr. Nowhere, because of just all these playthroughs. I'm doing like 4 playthroughs at once. When I finish some of the playthroughs, I will finally get around to finishing it, but I'm just working on so many playthroughs. Also, guys, I'm working on a GTA 5 lore video, another one. It's coming out later this week, so at the end of this week, it'll be out. It should be out by Saturday, and I think people are gonna like the lore video that I got for GTA 5. Thank you, Eric, and thank you, Sean. Have I played GTA 1, 2, London, 1969, and London 1961? No, I never played those games. Did I play Mafia 3? I played a little bit of it, but I never had the time to finish it. Oh, I am very far. Yes, I am. Have you tried Cagnali's order on Crime Boss? No, I haven't yet. I did kill Cagnali, though, in the regular campaign, so she spawned and I killed her there. But I haven't played the Cagnali's order DLC, no. 2 playthroughs are enough. I know DHC, and I normally don't do this many playthroughs. I got like 4 playthroughs going on, but the reason I have so many playthroughs going on is because one of the playthroughs is Ace Attorney, and Ace Attorney is such a long game. Like, the Apollo Justice Ace Attorney trilogy is like the longest game I think I've ever played in my life. It's so long. And so I've been doing that playthrough since February because it's how long it is. And then I wanted to do Watch Dogs 1 because the 10-year anniversary came up. LA Noire, the 13-year anniversary came up, and then the 80th anniversary of D-Day came out, so I did Call of Duty World War II, and then I was doing Fallout 3, and so it was for the TV show. So it's like so many playthroughs that I got going on at once, so that's just... But Fallout 3 is going to be finished soon. Fallout 3 is only a few parts left, so that's going to be one less playthrough to do, and then I can focus on finishing the other playthroughs. Well, the to-be-continued bits are the best parts to end it on. I think that's the best part to end each part on. What's one of your favorite features that could be in GTA 6? Mine is character customization. Also have a good night. Well, we're probably not going to have character customization because we're playing as Lucia and Jason. You're probably going to be able to customize, like, their clothes, their hairstyles, possibly, like, tattoos, but, like, the characters themselves, you're not going to be able to customize. That's for the online portion, though, Austinin. Oh, I guess I just didn't have the chance to play a DHC, but I will play it too. Yeah, that could be a missed opportunity also, Gunner. Whoa, what the... Okay, that was just stupid. He did the dive there, and that was just... We're going to be doing Metal Gear Solid 1. That's the playthrough that I got coming up next. I know people have really requested that, and that's a playthrough. So many people have asked me, play Metal Gear Solid 1, play Metal Gear Solid 1, and so that's the playthrough that we'll do next. The show with Homelander? No, I haven't watched it. I'm doing good, JP. Thank you for the super chat. GTA 6 Online should have character customization like Ghost Recon Wildlands. Like the clothes? Yeah, the clothing customization was really good in Wildlands. I really liked that. Was the Boondocks kickball episode banned in China? I don't know. Not sure. I saw an unpaid internship that demanded 40 hours a week. Imagine a full-time unpaid internship. Oh my god, yeah, that's horrible. I think you should get paid for internships. I mean, you learn like the skills of like a job during an internship, but doesn't mean that should be free because you're giving the company basically free labor. So that's Thank you, Fenris Game Bar. Are you going to play the old Hitman games, 47 Contracts and Silent Assassin? They on Steam? Yes. I actually did a playthrough Hitman Blood Money a long time ago, but I can do another one. Wait, what happened? Did we lose a plane? Wait, how many planes did we have? Wait, I'm confused. Did we have 3 planes, or did we only have 2? I wasn't paying attention. But I know it's 10 drops right now. You know, both sides were throwing weapons at each. Both sides were throwing weapons at their supported side in that war gunner. Do I believe in astrology, like the you know, astrology signs? Not really. No, I don't think so. There was 3. I guess something happened, but I died, my plane stalled. It's not a big deal, don't worry about it. The bonus will make up the difference anyways, so don't worry about it. Oh, does Izonzo have console crossplay? Well, if it's on Game Pass, I might start playing Izonzo again, because it was hard to find lobbies, but if it's on Game Pass, it means a lot of people are gonna be playing it. So yeah, can I help you when the DLC comes out? Sure you can, Jeremiah. Where did you send it to me? On Twitter, Golden? I do have Xbox, but I don't play it much. The best way to make gold in Reddit Online? Probably to, do Bounty Hunter and just wait the timer until the last minute, and just deliver the target. You get the most gold. What character do you want in the next, DLC? I don't think we're really gonna get anybody special in the next DLC. We're gonna get Maud, who she helped Trevor with the bail bondsman missions, but that's about it. I couldn't probably name any jazz musicians. I will listen to really any kind of music. I know that Phil Bell in GTA 4 loved jazz, because whenever he came into his office, he was listening to it. My son's Series X HDMI port is broken. Is this a tough fix, you think? It could be, I guess, because it's basically what connects the video feed into the TV from that. Oh, okay, you could, Golden Stripe. Make sure you have Izonzo crossplay set on, okay. Pro, I'm having my birthday vacation, Midwest. I'm looking into working back there, since it's affordable than the East Coast. That's a great idea, Ant. Yep. Midwest is probably the most affordable part of the country. I'm nearly at 1 billion on this game. Congratulations, King of Killing. You might even pass me, too. Thank you for sponsoring my channel for 7 months, and thank you for the super chat, and when is Izonzo stream? Give me some time, guys, because I want to finish some of these playthroughs, because I got so many playthroughs going on right now, but once I finish a lot of these playthroughs and I get my GTA lore video out, we can do an Izonzo stream. For people that don't know what Izonzo is, it's a World War I game that came out, like, a couple months back, and it's on PlayStation 5. It's actually a really good game. It's a massively multiplayer game, like 50 vs 50, World War I combat, and it's pretty realistic. Here we go, got it. I don't know when, Ricky. I don't want to give you a specific date because it's got so many projects. Worst World War II game you've played? There was this one World War II game that I remember I played. It was on the Xbox 360. It was like many years ago. I don't remember what it was.
Okay.
Let me just see. Let me see. Maybe I do remember the title of it. Yes, the worst World War II game I played, it was this World War II game called Hour of Victory. That's what it was. Hour of Victory was the worst one I played, yeah. It was an Xbox 360 World War II game. I played that game when I was a kid. I was like 12 or 13 when I played that game, and it was bad. Why was it bad? First of all, the healing was terrible in Hour of Victory. In order to heal in that game, it was like a weird system. You had to stand completely still, like you couldn't move. So you had to stand completely still to heal, and it was terrible. What's my least favorite game of all time? Least favorite game of all time? Maybe Brink? I was really disappointed by that game, too. Medal of Honor Airborne is like one game... Oh, great, yeah. Medal of Honor Airborne is like one game that people never really tried, but it was a great one. Rusty isn't corrupt, but it feels like he just wants to rush cases. That's what I'll say about it. Like, he has a very narrow mindset. Have I ever played the game Black? The PS2 first-person shooter? No, I've never played it, but I've heard good things about it. The Frosty One video on the inaccuracies in Call of Duty World War II. If so, what do I think about it? Well, the inaccuracies... Vanguard probably has a lot more inaccuracies than that one. The Homicide Captain? Oh, he's a scumbag. I'm not dressed for jail. We need to get out of here. Wait, Bernie says that in GTA 4. Bernie says that, yep, in GTA 4. Remember now.
We gotta hit the next round of shows! Right on!
Can I play Medal of Honor European Assault? Yes, I will eventually play that one. I still don't know when. I will eventually play it. Actually, about Medal of Honor European Assault, let me actually show you something really quickly here, Sean. Because I actually have, on my table, I actually have a bunch of games on my table. And I think I actually have it here, right here. Yes, I do. Yep. Yeah, see? I have it right here, Medal of Honor European Assault. I know camera's a little bit bad, but there. I have that one. Why am I driving backwards? Curious. Oh, the reason I'm driving backwards is because going backwards up a hill with a post-op van is actually faster than going forward. That's the logic. It actually does go faster going up hills backwards. For GTA 6 Online, I don't think you'll be able to transfer your 5.1 to 6 because of different graphics, but I don't know. Well, here's the thing I'll tell you about GTA 6 Online. I don't care about money. I don't care about characters, but I do care about my rank. I would like to keep my rank. So, like, my rank 1,391, I hope I can transfer that into GTA 6. So, like, because I've worked so hard for this rank. So, I hope I can at least transfer the rank. Thank you, Chryslin. Oh, can you get the wrong answer in that one, Gunner? And I think my friend Wilsey played it. Didn't Wilsey play it?
This shit is whack, son!
If you're into Ace Attorney, I recommend Judgment. Yeah, I've actually had people tell me that to play Judgment. Isn't Judgment in the same universe as Yakuza? Correct me if I'm wrong. Is that the same universe or not? Thank you, Shadow Chaser, for the super chat.
I look around and say, what's happened to my beautiful fine wood? Oh, please.
Pro, it's Pat Plays replied to you. You missed his comment earlier. I did. If I did, I'm sorry. Let's see here. Pro, it's Pat Plays replied to you. Hang on. I don't see his comment. It's Pat Plays. Can you please post your comment again? Because I can't find your comment. Can you just post your comment one more time, please? There's a really bad detective game that was funded by the government of Iran. It's called Dark Years. It's available on Steam. You should play that game for the LOLs, huh? You know what game I want to play one day for the LOLs too? I want to play Ride to Hell Retribution. That's what I want to play. If anybody knows Ride to Hell Retribution, you're like, God help you. That's probably what you're thinking right now. It's like, because it's gonna be torture. I'm gonna absolutely torture myself by playing that. Like, I think I might go insane. Like, I might lose my sanity just playing that game.
You're insane! You're the cover star of fucking Psych! I found it. Just go to law school already!
I haven't done the Criminal Mastermind Challenge in the first heist. I would like to do it before GTA 6 comes out. Oh, okay, Edwin. Well, if you ever need help, you can message me. I'm just really busy this month, but July I should be way more free because I've got so many playthroughs this month. Night of the Consumer? That's actually one game I wanted to play, yeah. How many platinum trophies do you have? I think it's like 40? His comment isn't showing. Okay. I have 53? Oh, okay, so it's more than that than I thought.
¿Cómo estás?
Were the platinums from those jumping games? No. I technically have 51 platinums then, because only 2 were from the jumping games. And the only reason I did those is because I wanted to show a YouTube video on them. You may have solved the Mount Chiliad mystery. What is that, Cookie? Have I ever been to a Yankees game? A long time ago when I was a kid. Are there any World War II games that cover the war in the Pacific? Medal of Honor Rising Sun, Medal of Honor Pacific Assault, Call of Duty World at War. Yeah. Okay, 0.7, okay. Okay, got you. You think I were doing a podcast? The closest thing I've ever did to that is like when I did those advice videos like on retail and stuff like that. I don't think I'd be good at something like that. The last big update for GTA Online was probably maybe Drug Wars, but besides that, Contract. Was there any American campaigns in occupied Norway and Denmark? Norway, I know there was a lot of like British commando operations in Norway that happened during World War II, but I don't know of anything else really in Denmark that much. Have I played Izonzo? A lot of people have asked me about that earlier, but yeah, I have Izonzo. I actually played it a bunch, and I want to do a video on it too. Well, he's pretty much a dictator, though, Gunner. No matter how much he says it, he is. Or he says he isn't, he is.
Oh my God.
Message to KGBL, Phelps badge 1247. How old are you, by the way? 30? Patrick, guess what I'm watching? The thing is, though, is that some channels don't get demonetized. Like, their videos don't get demonetized for cursing a lot. Well, other channels get demonetized. You got any more of those advice videos planned? Yes. I got one coming out before the end of this month, and it's gonna be titled "How to Deal with YouTubers Who Guilt Trip Their Audience," like greedy YouTubers, like basically my thoughts on them, and maybe I could one day lure the older Resident Evil games too. I think that I think the cartels today are even stronger than the Mafia was at their height. I think that explanation is other BS, Gunner. Venezuela just wanted to show off their power, and it backfired bad on them. Can you guys both send me those invites? Again, they disappeared. Okay, I'll see you, Mr. Wick. Take care, man. The cartel has just so much money, power, and they also have firepower. They have firepower. The cartel even has APCs, armored personnel carriers. I've never seen the Italian mafia of armored personnel carriers. And the cartels have there's a lot of corrupt officials in the Mexican government that also help the cartels. So the cartels, I think, just have way more power than even the mafia at its height. Sending invites again, I'm sorry they disappeared. I will help, let me help, Kumo, first, and then I'll help, Fixated. Yes, the cartel have APCs. If you don't believe me, go on Google Images and type in cartel APC, and you'll see what I'm talking about. What's the best way to deal with rude customers? Oh, well, I will tell you this. The best way to deal with rude customers, it really depends on what your boss is fine with you doing. Because what I was doing, my strategy on how I dealt with rude customers, it worked, but but what I will say about it is it could get you in trouble with your boss, depending on the place that you're working at. But the last month that I was working in retail, when I dealt with a rude customer, and they were being nasty to me, I would always say the exact same thing to them. And I would say to them, like, sir, you know, I'm trying my best to help you. If you continue being rude to me, then I'm not going to help you. And if they continued being rude to me, I would just walk away. I wouldn't help them. And the thing is, though, is that some places you could get in trouble for that because they expect you to help the customer even if they're really rude and nasty to you. But the way that I was looking at it is I don't get paid enough, get paid a little bit over minimum wage to basically get screamed at and cursed at for something that's not my fault. And a lot of times, when you get screamed at by these customers, they scream at you for something that's completely out of your control. Like, they'll yell at you about, like, the price of an item when you don't even set prices. They'll yell at you over an item being out of stock when that's not your fault either. They will, yeah, they'll yell at you for a coupon being denied, too. They'll yell at you for so many stupid things. Mexican here can confirm all of this. Entire cities has been displaced on cartel versus cartel conflicts. Don't believe me? Search Tila Chiapas. Okay, Rue Shady. Mexico is a beautiful country, and I do want to visit, like, Baja California. That's the place I really want to visit in Mexico one day. I want to see the resorts there. But I will say is that Mexico does have a corruption problem. There's parts of the military and even, like, sometimes entire police departments that could be under the cartel's payroll, and the federal government in Mexico needs to do something and crack down on these corrupt cops and these corrupt army units also. Bro, if you were given $1,000 to go to Pyongyang, would you go? No. I don't know anything about Mexico's newest president. But I'll tell you guys something. What I was talking about what I was talking earlier about the rude customers. The customers that are like really rude and really nasty to you in retail, if you do what I do, oh crap. If you do what I do, you might get in trouble, like I said, because it was like the last month that I was working in retail, so I didn't care if I got fired at that point. But can anyone here guess, though, like, when you have like a really rude and nasty customer, and you tell them that I'm not gonna help you if you can continue being rude to me, and they still continue being rude to me, if you walk away from them, can anybody guess the type of reaction that they have if you tend to walk away from them? It's usually most of their reactions are the same. Can anyone guess how they react to you walking away from them when they're being rude to you? Yeah, they're shocked. It's shocked. They don't expect you to do that. They expect you to sit there and just take it. I hate working cashier for the same reason. Yep, it sucked, Jonathan. They get mad and they might ask for the manager. Yup, that too. They get mad and they might ask for manager, yup. Is there any good gang members in cartels? Not really, because they wouldn't be in a cartel if they're good people. Thank you, Fenrir. Yeah, you're right on that, Joker. The rude, Let me help Fixated first, and I can help, you, Mark. If the rude customer expects you to walk away from them, or expects you to say, I won't help you, then the customer won't get any benefit from this, because they can't buy what they came for, yep. What do I think of Eritrea? Some call it the North Korea of Africa. Eritrea is it is a brutal dictatorship. It only has like one newspaper in the entire country, and everybody is drafted into the military, so everyone is. And they basically have to do military service for life in that country. It's a really brutal dictatorship. I don't know much about that war, Fernando. And I haven't heard of that game either. Mercenaries is an okay update. It did change a lot of the hangar business, which I thought was good.
Here, Merryweather, go.
Oh, this mission. What's your question, Zach? Oh, we got a far drive on this. I love your lore video you did on Claude a month ago. Thank you, Bobby. Thanks, man. Dante Bosco is in Saints Row 1. You can hear his voice lines when you drive the truck into the Carnales factory. Oh, that's the guy who plays Zuko, right? Which GTA 4 ending should I pick? The Revenge.
What the fuck?
Hey, Pro, good to see the GTA streams. Thank you, man. Professional doesn't read comments. No, I am reading comments. I was just focusing on the drive. Hey, man.
Go fuck yourself.
Yo, over here. What's up?
Did I know that Amanda's tennis coach is racist? I triggered a cigarette cutscene, and, I got called out because I was playing as Franklin for breaking into Michael's house. Yeah, he does make a pretty racist comment if you actually, if you play, if you get spotted. It's a failed cutscene. It's a failed cutscene. What the? Wait. How did I just die? Tips for being a freshman in college, which will be me in this fall. College is actually a bit more chill than high school, because there's less classes, you get more free time in the day, you're not there all day. Like, the first and second year of college is a little, it's like an easier version of high school. Like, there are people out there who think the Sandinistas are good because the Contras are bad. It's the same thing with your country, Vietnam. People think that the North Vietnamese were the good guys because America intervened in the Vietnam War. People think that too. You can make the argument that America's intervention in the Vietnam War was wrong, but if you think that, like, North Vietnam or the Viet Cong were, like, good guys, you're stupid. Let me see. Have the same question, but freshman for high school. The first year of high school isn't that big of a deal. It's like an extension of middle school. Yes, I have heard Homefront. I've actually played Homefront a long time ago. I don't know if the servers are still down, so it might be impossible to get a platinum now in that game. How many comments can you read in one go? A bunch? Try your hardest in freshman year since GPA is going to be formed based off that, and it gets harder to change in the subsequent years. Oh, okay. Well, yeah, I had a pretty... I remember I had a high GPA in high school, but I didn't go crazy with it either. I generally got good grades, but would I ever stream DMZ? Yeah, I could one day. Yeah, Brandon doesn't want to play DMZ. He's got some bad moments in that. The most annoying enemy in DMZ? I'm not DMZ, Division 2. Division. I think maybe the elite cleaner enemies, the flamethrowers. I think those guys might be the most annoying. Athena Sykes? Well, I'm generally surprised by the revelation that we got about Athena last time, too. I can't believe that. Mercenaries POD actually is a pretty realistic view of what a second Korean War would be like, that all these sides are just out for each other. Sniper Elite is an awesome game. Do you see yourself as Polish or American? I see myself as American, with just Polish background. Say hello in Polish chest. I can't picture you coming back to DMZ regardless, and Brandon, because I remember you got a bit pissed off at some of the toxic people in the game last time.
Excuse me?
There's a case that makes you and a case that breaks you. Yep, that is true. Whoa, whoa. Kay Faraday and Ace Attorney. Who is that again? You gotta remind me, You gotta remind me, Saint. You are the most wholesome YouTuber. Thank you, something, Analyze. I don't know. I want to focus on finishing Spanish first, and then I'll decide if I want to learn a fourth language. That ninja girl that helps Miles. I don't remember this. Don't say anything because I don't remember. Cause this might be a part I haven't gotten up to yet. Then. Do I speak French? No. Where are you from? Brooklyn, New York? It's okay, Pearson. It's not a big deal. Do you think GTA 6 will retcon certain parts of GTA Online? What do you mean, Jorge? You mean, like, make it not canon? How do you go into first-person mode that fast as touchpad? That's it. The biggest scumbag in the Phoenix Wright trilogy? Probably Dahlia Hawthorne. Yeah, probably Dahlia. Will I learn Korean? Maybe one day. How was New York when you were a kid? Oh, very different than today. Kids weren't all on their smartphones. Well, there always was toll booths, but not to the extent that they have it now, yeah. They toll you every time you go down the Verrazano Bridge now, too. Do I think the story in GTA Online will be scrapped? I don't think it's necessarily going to be scrapped, but they're probably not going to discuss it. They're like probably going to pretend like it didn't happen. It's still not technically canon, but it's like they're going to pretend like it didn't happen.
Look at.
Some people seem so perfect and it's aggravating. Everybody always has their flaws. No matter how perfect somebody seems, everyone always has their flaws. If another YouTuber approached you, want to do the story of the professional, would you be okay with that? Sure, why not? Am I gonna reach 1400, 1500 this year? Oh, you mean rank? Yeah, I'll get up to 1400 definitely this year, yeah. I still got 9 ranks to go, so yeah, I'll get up to 1400 this year. Like and subscribe. Thank you, Linda man. Thanks. What's your opinion on the fear-mongering around the Russian submarine off the coast of Florida? That's not a threat at all. Like, you know, I think people are just making it too much of a big deal. The submarine, as far as I know, doesn't even have nuclear missiles on it. Here's people keep panicking about nuclear war, but if one side fired nuclear weapons, the other side would die too. So nobody wants to do that. So I wouldn't panic about that. What do you think of that incident with Cole Phelps? I don't really want to discuss it, because it's gonna spoil things for people that don't know what's gonna happen. No, I'm from Brooklyn, New York. RP Beast. Telling us not to panic is making me panic. That's from that's Trevor says that. He says, you telling me not to panic is making me want to panic. I am from Brooklyn, but I grew up mostly in Queens. Okay, let's get over there as quick as we can. You have no accent? I disagree. Everybody has an accent to a degree. A lot of people think that I have a, I guess like a generic New York accent, not like a very common one, but... Usually when I get freaked out, that's more of when my New York accent comes out. You'll hear that there. If you want to hear, like, my New York accent kind of, like, slipping when I freak out, is, if you watch my Max Payne 1 playthrough, during the Max Payne 1 playthrough, when Max Payne gets arrested at the Don Punchinello's house, I'm like, who the hell are you people? I said that, and I kind of, like, slipped out my, like, New York accent when I kind of said that. I love the part, who the hell are you people? Yep. Whoa, what was that? Okay. Why is Russia using 50-year-old tanks? Because they have a massive stockpile of them. What is the worst thing I have heard a scammer tell you? It really depends. The worst thing I've heard a scammer tell out of the videos that I've made on my YouTube channel trolling scammers, the worst thing that I've heard a scammer say to me is basically when the scammer was like trying to tell me that they were a man of God and that they believed in Jesus and that they could never like scam they could never scam me. And that to me that's like one of the worst things that they can say, because they are basically manipulating people and they're trying to use religion to basically trick people. And like literally honestly, whenever I hear somebody like say, "Oh, I could never scam you, I'm a man of God," whenever I hear something like that, to me it's almost always they're trying to scam you. Like it's just scammers oftentimes say that. The worst thing that I have heard a scammer say to me, but I never recorded it, this is like many years ago, but basically, what happened is, there was a scammer, and, the guy who called me, basically, he had a very heavy Indian accent, I remember that, and he told me that his name was Agent John White from the IRS. And, like, Agent John White, which is, like, the most, like, you know, stereotypical American name that I can think of, John White. But it's, basically, he's telling me that he's from the IRS, the Internal Revenue Service, and he was telling me that he's gonna, telling me that I owe taxes, and then I have to go to the store and buy gift cards right now, or I'm gonna, you know, I'm gonna get arrested. And what I ended up doing is I actually told him, what is the time right now? Where I actually, no, I asked him first, I'm like, where are you located? And he said Washington, D.C. And then I asked him, what is the time in Washington, D.C. right now? And when I asked him what the time was in Washington, D.C., I heard him, like, typing in the background, and then he just told me the time that it was in Washington, D.C. And at that point, I already knew he wasn't in Washington, D.C., but that pretty much just gave me the proof. All he did was look up the time on Google, and then he told me it. And I ended up telling him that I'm not going to pay my taxes. And he told me why, and I told him because I don't believe in government. I think that government is wrong, and I think that taxation is theft. That's what I said to him, and he just got so mad, and he just started cursing at me, screaming at me, and he said that he's gonna send the SWAT team to my house. And I told him that nobody's coming. The SWAT team is not gonna come to my house, and nobody ever came, of course. And that was just it. So he threatened to send the SWAT team to my house. Well, he's one of the most evil characters in the Rambo series, Gunner. But about him is the Burmese captain. That actor who played him was actually a real-life Burmese freedom fighter. And when he actually played in that movie, his family ended up getting arrested over him playing in that movie. Well, I'm from Brooklyn, Cookie, but I grew up mostly in Queens. How does it feel being 30 years old? It feels kind of weird, honestly, knowing that my 20s are up. It's gone. My 20s are gone. Well, Emily, what I said is don't take what I said as a political statement. When I told the scammer that I don't believe in government and that taxation is theft, I wasn't being necessarily serious. I just wanted to piss them off. It wasn't like a political statement or anything like that. I just wanted to piss them off. That's basically what I said. But I don't want to talk politics. This is a gaming channel, but I'm just gonna stay away from it. But that's basically it was just to piss off the scammer. That was the whole purpose of it. Hello, Nico. Hey, Pro, can we do that heist now in 20 minutes, WRV? I don't really discuss my personal life, Gale. Thank you for the super chat. I had to work retail for 5 weeks. Glad it's over now. Well, retail can be a giant pain. Oh, that's really slow, Angelo. Try unplugging your router and plugging it back in. Maybe that'll fix the internet speed. If you don't have, also maybe connect with an Ethernet cable. That'll also speed things up. What do you think of the time North Korea and the USA fought together against Somalian pirates? Yep, I remember that. The North Korean media actually thanked the US for that, surprisingly, for once. Do you know that Michael Caine sympathized with communism until he saw the horrifying human wave attacks by the Chinese firsthand during his service in the Korean War? Who's Michael Caine? And, should I get Bambushka if we get post-op? No, Jeremiah, that glitch doesn't work anymore. You can't put post-op vans in the back of the Bambushka. Do you remember when the plane landed in the Hudson? I do remember that. It was like, I remember, what was it? It was like birds that got stuck in the engine, right? Oh, an actor? Okay, WRV. Well, if we don't get the chance to do it tonight, I can help you another time. Michael Caine is an English actor. He was Alfred in A Dark Knight. Oh, okay. Pat, what do you think of the poll I created with the different horror subgenres? I didn't get the chance to look at it, Michael. I'm sorry. I've just been so busy with just so many things. Gotta go, Pro. Enjoy the rest of your night in peace. Thank you, Anthony. Yeah, he's wearing Luis Lopez's outfit and the golden buzzard. I'm making a GTA lore video this week. GTA 5. If I get a chance, Brandon, I will. No, I never read comic books. I have read like one manga book once, if that counts, but I never really read comic books. Do you know who killed Leonora Johnson? Yes, it's that director that Franklin confronts. I forget his name. Dreyfus, yes, that's him. Have I ever played Mercenaries 2? Yes, I have, and I beat it a long time ago. I really loved Mercenaries 2. One of the best games I played. What's a new lore video about? It's actually explaining a mystery, explaining the backstory behind something that people are really are a bit confused on. I don't want to spoil it yet, but it's gonna be a good one when it comes out. No, I don't fly any aircraft. I could fixate it. What are your thoughts on the disappearance of the 2 Dutch women, in that one missing in the Panama in 2014? I don't know about that. What's the backstory behind that, DHC? I will play the other Ace Attorney games one day, but after we play Apollo Justice, we're gonna take a bit of a break from it. Oh, what just happened over there? Thank you, Phoenix Naruhodo and DHC. Was wondering how you can focus on GTA while still reading chat. Just gotten good with multitasking, gotten used to it. Hunters from the Division. I would have to remember the Hunters in the Division. Who are they exactly? Pro, what's your opinion on racism? What are the pros? There's no pros to racism. What are you talking about? What kind of question is that? Racism is people being ignorant and not understanding other races and other cultures. Most racism ultimately comes from parents. That's where the vast majority of it comes from, is parents teach their kids, and the kids unfortunately grow up with those views, and then they teach their kids that, and it's a never-ending cycle of that. Why would there be pros to racism? I don't know what kind of question that was either. Like, sometimes people ask some really stupid questions. That's what I'll say. What are your thoughts on funny moments, meme-style gaming YouTubers like Kev do it? I haven't watched that channel. I've watched like Dark Viper AU shorts. A lot of his shorts I've watched them. Those funny videos with like the memes. Those I've watched, but I haven't watched that guy. This is GTA Online. You know what you know one thing that I never you know one thing that I never really understood, and one thing that I never really understood, and it's still, I don't think I will ever really truly understand the answer to this. The thing I probably will never understand the answer to this question, and that is that I grew up knowing some people in my family that were extremely racist, and some of the people that were in my family that were extremely racist growing up some of them are extremely like religious, like very, very religious. And the thing that I don't understand is I don't understand how somebody can be very religious but also be extremely racist at the same time. Because if you're like really religious and like you believe in God and you believe that like God created everybody, then how can you possibly hate somebody else just for the color of their skin when you believe that God created everyone? So that's just what I never understood. Is I never understood how there's really racist people that are like really religious too. I just that's, for me, that was always like puzzling. Like I never understood that logic too. That's just that. Disappearance of Chris Creamers and Lisane Froon. Thank you, DHC. Thank you for the super chat. But I'd never heard of that story though. Then they're not religious too. Well, I would disagree. I would say some of those people are really religious because, you know, and I'm not attacking religious people. I'm not, by no means. But I'm just saying is there are like really religious people out there that are also racist. And to me, I just don't understand that personally. Like how somebody can be really religious and like they believe that God created Earth, they believe that God created everyone, created all races, but at the same time is you're racist against another person that God created. You're hating somebody, you know, based on the color of their skin. Somebody that, you know, so that I just don't get that personally, that logic.
It's sick.
It's a front, they're hiding behind religion. Huh. Well. Well, no, Gavin, I'm not attacking anybody that's religious. No, that's not what I'm getting at. I'm just the only thing that I'm saying is like some of those like really racist people you'll see, they are really religious or they pretend to be religious. That's just what I'll say. And I just personally don't understand that logic too. Because, you know, how can you believe that like God created everybody, but then you're racist against, you know, another person that God created? You know, didn't God create everyone equally? So that's what I'll basically say about it. Is like literally, it's like it's just the logic doesn't make sense. Oh, thank you, Own Titan. Where is that quote from? I think I've heard that quote somewhere before. It's like gangs and cartels. They do wild crap, but they also go to church. Yeah, I would agree with that too. Yeah, I would say that. Are you still learning Spanish? Yeah, I'm learning every day. Made Man Walkthrough. What's that, a video game? The Hunters in the Division series. I don't know if I remember them. There was a few of my family members that had some racist views. I've tried to talk reason into some of them. Some of them have listened. Some of them haven't. Not like my close family, not like my father or my mother, but it's more farther away family. But some of them have listened to reason. Others, it's like talking to a brick wall, and so it's just not even worth having a discussion. I'll look into it, Antonio. I want to be a member of your channel, but I've fallen into hard times financially. Thank you, Vesper. Oh, my siblings, I really don't know. I don't know what their views are on that. But my siblings are just, I've never had a great relationship with my siblings because, my half brother and my half sister is, they've just. Ever since I was just a child, they were never really nice to me. They were never friendly with me. They would just team up on me, kind of, like, just say nasty things to me. And so just never had a great relationship. Even to this day, still, there's no, there's not a great I don't have any relationship with them at all. I honestly don't even care what they're doing, to be honest. I haven't talked to my half brother and my half sister in like probably a decade at most. You know, that's just, yeah, probably somewhere like around that. Let's see here. Your half-siblings must have picked up their toxicity from their mother. Actually, you are actually 100% right. That is actually where it comes from. That's actually where their toxicity actually comes from, is from that. You're actually right on that, Sam. Basically, my half-brother and my half-sister have just been... They have basically hated me ever since I was born. They're older than me. And, basically, their mother taught them, that I was basically to blame for my father divorcing her, and that because of that, like, you know, I'm one of the reasons that, like, that the divorce happened and everything just went to blame and stuff like that. That's my father divorced his first wife because she was, like, abusive. She was really toxic. He couldn't, like, you know, be in a relationship with her anymore. And what happened was my father still supported his, you know, his two other kids. You know, he still sent them money, he still helped them out. But he just didn't want to be with his wife anymore, so he divorced her. He met my mom, you know, he had me, and so they basically, you know, his, you know, wife, basically, his former wife, you know, talked a bunch of crap, you know, said that I was to blame for a lot of this stuff. You know, I wasn't even born when the divorce happened, and so they, you know, they blame me for a lot of that stuff. And my, I'll tell you something, my half-brother is, even worse than my half-sister. My half-brother is like a total scumbag. He is, you guys would probably find it hard to believe that, he's my half-brother, because he's like the complete opposite of me. But basically, my dad owned an apartment in Poland. And the apartment that he owned in Poland, you know, he paid, like, his taxes on that, like, you know, for years, but he still, like, he owned a property in Poland. And, like, my half-brother, like, you know, called my dad, like, many years ago, and he told my dad, he basically said, that, like, you know, Dad, I'm going to school here in the city, and, like, I don't have a place to stay, like, rent is expensive, can I please stay at, like, your apartment, you know, while I'm going to study? And my dad basically said, you know, that's fine, son. And so he basically gave that apartment to his, you know, son, my half-brother, to stay there for some time. And can anybody guess what my half-brother did to that apartment when my dad let him stay there? But it was just, I would say he's really scummy. No, he didn't trash it. He didn't trash it. He tried to profit from it. Basically, he lied to my dad. He wasn't going to school in that city. What he did was, he rented out the apartment to this crazy, like, you know, family that was constantly partying. So he basically turned my father's apartment into a rental. My father gave him that apartment so that he could basically stay there, and that he could live there. So that when he's going to school. He wasn't paying any rent to my father or anything like that. My dad just let him stay there. And he was renting the apartment out to some crazy family, and this crazy family was, like, constantly partying. Like, they were throwing, like, really big parties, and they were pissing off, like, all the neighbors. And what the neighbors actually found out my dad's phone number. I don't know how the neighbors found out my dad's phone number. I don't know how they got a hold of it. But, like, they called him from Poland to America, and they literally said that, like, you know, your apartment is out of control. There's these people throwing these wild, crazy parties at, like, 3, 4 o'clock in the morning. It's like, I can't sleep. My dad's like, what the hell? And so my dad calls him up, and he asks him, like, you know, what's going on here exactly? And he basically says, like, oh, you know, I'm still living at the apartment, the neighbor's lying and stuff like that. And what ended up happening is my dad actually ended up traveling to Poland to see what was going on. He knocked on the door. He found out that there was actually a family that was actually living there. So it wasn't even, so basically my half-brother had lied to him completely on that. He had rented out the apartment to some crazy family that was constantly throwing all these big parties. And my dad got really pissed off, and these people didn't have a lease on the apartment. He just basically let them rent there, and they were paying him. And my dad basically said, that's it, get the hell out. And so he threw these people out, and this, just so you know, this was not like a regular family that was like staying at this apartment. This was like some crazy people that were throwing parties constantly, and they were harassing and annoying all the neighbors. So my dad ends up throwing these people out, and they get kicked out of the apartment. He went through like the courts in Poland. He got the police. They evicted them. And then what ended up happening is my half-brother, do you know what he did? He basically went around the neighborhood, and he started talking crap about my dad, and he said that my dad is like a bad person, and that he evicted him. He just wanted a place to stay so he could study, and my dad evicted him and threw him out and threw him on the streets. So he started like these stupid rumors, and then like people started like talking crap about my dad in the neighborhood, and they started like confronting him and saying to him like, oh, you're a bad person, how could you do this? It's like, and you're a rich parent that went to America, you left your son behind here, and you're kicking your son out on the streets. Well, that's not actually what happened. There's like, he spread that rumor around that my dad was like some rich guy that went to America, left his kids here, and that was and so that was just crap. I'll tell you this, when my half-brother, when I saw him when he was when I was a kid and my half-brother came to visit my dad, what he was doing is he was a photographer, and he was like taking pictures for like books and stuff like that. And I remember when he visited once, he started talking crap to my dad, and he started basically saying to my dad that I make more money than you, I'm doing really good. And the way that he was talking about it, he wasn't talking about it in like a nice way, he was talking about it more in like a selfish way. Like, you know, because every parent wants their child to succeed. Every parent wants their child to eventually make more money than them. But the way that he was talking about it is he was talking about it like really nasty, like just not nice, like I'm better than you, like, you know, I made more money than you, you know, stuff like that. And then what ends up happening is he starts complaining to my dad. He's like, can you buy me this new camera for my photography job? Like, buy me this new camera, get me this new expensive camera. And my dad basically says to him, like, you told me that you make more money than me. You told me that you're so successful. If you're so successful, then you don't need my money. And then he basically says, like, you know, how can you treat me like this? I come visit you here in America, and then you treat me like this. And then he just left, and he went, you know, back. So that's why I say he's a massive narcissist. He just, it's like, my dad constantly tries to help him out, and he just takes advantage of the situation, causes problems. He's just not nice. And also, he blamed my dad for evicting that family, and he said he eventually admitted to the fact that he was renting out the apartment, but he was like, I was renting it out to help pay for school. And my dad's like, no, I gave you the apartment so you could live there. It wasn't so that you could rent it out and stuff like that. You should have talked to me about that. But no, and the thing is, it's bad enough that he's renting out the property to somebody, but renting the property out to some crazy, like, family that's constantly, like, throwing parties at, like, 4 o'clock in the morning, that's already, like, bad enough. So, so that's what I'll say about it is, yeah, my, you know, my half-brother and my half-sister are narcissists. My half-sister is kind of toxic too, but my half-brother is the worst. He's the most toxic person. Like, does he and your dad still talk? No. They haven't talked in, like, you know, many, many years. A very, very long time. Very long time they haven't talked in. He never even calls my dad on his birthdays. So then my dad basically stopped calling him too, and that was, there was, I remember that, when I was a kid, I didn't like him when I was a kid, because, he would come visit sometimes, and I would spend some time with him. I just didn't get along with him, and, what happened is, I remember when I was, like, a child, when I was, like, 12 or 13 years old, like, just about being a teenager, my dad, I remember, he told me that, he's like, oh, you know, call your half-brother on his birthday. And I told my dad, I was like, you know, he's not going to call me on my birthday. He never calls me on my birthday. Why should I call him? And my dad said, well, you never know. If you call him on his birthday, I'm sure he'll call you on your birthday. And so I called him on his birthday. I wished him a happy birthday. And guess what? He never called me on my birthday. Never. Never. And I told my dad, I was like, you see, he never called me on my birthday. And my dad basically said, I guess you're right. You don't have to call him again. So my dad was trying to get me and him to get along, but just didn't work out. And then my dad kind of realized that I was right. that it just that he's just being a scumbag. So that was just about it. And my half brother and my half sister, I highly doubt they even know I do YouTube. They don't even know what I probably do for a living. That's just probably it. I highly doubt they know even what I do. Do you know how much the rent was? I have no idea what he was renting the place for. But it was, but yeah, that was just, yeah. He's your brother. I'll give him infinite chances. Well, you have to understand something. He might be related to me. He might be my half-brother, but he was never a brother to me. That's just what it is. So, like, when people tell me, are you an only child? I say yes. Because I don't consider really my half-brother and my half-sister to be my siblings, really. I know that might seem kind of cruel, me saying that, but, like, they were never there for me. When I was a child, they were always rude to me, they were always nasty to me, they never helped me out with anything, and so, like, you know, I never lived with them, really, so, like, you know, why should I consider them to be, like, my brother and my, sisters? Like, you know, family are people that, like, help you out and love you, and so that was it. So they had plenty of chances to be nice to me when I was a child, but it was never there, so that's what I say is, I consider myself an only child. Your dad is a good man. He doesn't deserve any of the crap. I'm feeling sick to my stomach just listening how your half-brother treated your dad. Yeah. It was, yeah. But you know something, I'll tell you guys this, is something really horrible, that my dad told me once. And I'll never forget this. You know, it was just, it's even, like, creepy for me to discuss it. It's just that. Maybe I shouldn't say it, but it was, my dad, oh crap, I'm falling over here. Let me get over in this alley. My dad basically told me one day, this is what my dad told me. He said to me that one day when I'm gone, that's what my dad said. He said, I'm leaving this house for you. They are both going to come from Poland, and they're going to want a part of the house. That's what my dad said. They're going to want a part of this house. Do not give them anything. That's basically what my dad said. He said, you know, don't give them anything. I'm leaving everything to you. And, like, my dad isn't sick. He's not dying or anything. He's perfectly healthy. But that's just what my dad said to me. I remember. And I'll never forget that. He said, like, you know, they will try to take stuff from you, like, when I'm gone. They'll try to take advantage of you. They'll try to be friendly with you. They'll try to tell you they're your brother and your sister. Like, don't give them anything. That's just basically what my dad said, and he's like, promise me you won't give them anything, and I said, okay, I promise, I won't give them anything, but that, and it was a kind of a creepy conversation, because I didn't like my dad talking like that. He said, like, when I'm gone, but it was just, like, I felt like it was probably something he needed to tell me, too, but that was that. Let's get over here. Oh, and I got a, super chat. Thank you, fam. That is, that's Indian rupees, right? Thanks for being you. Thank you. That's Indian rupees, right? I recognize the symbol for Indian money. Am I right on that? Is there anything bad that your half-sister did? The toxicity that my half-sister caused, I never really experienced it. I know my dad told me some stories about what things that she did, but I never really experienced her doing toxic things. She wasn't very nice to me. She was kind of rude. But my half-brother was the worst. That's what I'll say about him. He was the worst. I don't want to sound horrible, but I think your half-siblings see you as a reminder of the failure of their parents' marriage, even though it wasn't your fault. Well, that's probably how they see it, yeah. And, like, we were discussing, like, racism earlier, and remember what I said about racism? Is that, like, most racism actually comes from family members. That's where most racism comes from. Racism is not something that, like, kids, like, racism is not something that kids develop on their own. It's something that parents basically push onto them. But yeah, that's it's usually something that comes from parents. Hold on, guys. Something in chat. I don't know why some people are so toxic in chat. Okay. Anyways, what I was saying is that about what I was trying to say about racism earlier is that racism is something that most of the time parents push on their kids. Is like kids don't develop racism on their own. It's very rare that kids will develop racism on their own. Racism mostly comes from parents. It's parents teaching their kids when they're growing up. They're like, oh, you know, this race is bad, this group of people is bad. They push it onto the kids, and then the kids start believing it, and the kids grow up believing that stuff. That is, I'm trying to, remember there's that one really disturbing like World War II movie. It's a really good movie, but it's also like a really disturbing movie. It's actually called the movie is called The Boy in the Striped Pajamas, and like the movie takes place during World War II. It takes place during the Holocaust, and the two main characters in the movie are both kids, and one of the kids in the movie is the child of a Nazi, you know, camp commander. And the other child is a Jewish boy that's actually in the concentration camp. And the child of the Nazi commander ends up becoming best friends with the Jewish kid that's in the concentration camp. You guys should probably see the movie. The movie is really disturbing. It's very gruesome. The ending will haunt me for the rest of my life because of how disturbing that ending is. But the point in that movie is that the child in that movie was the son of a Nazi camp commander and ended up becoming friends with a Jewish child who was also in the camp. These were little kids, and it just shows you that kids are just so innocent. They don't develop hate towards each other. They don't hate each other. That ideology, that hate is just driven by their parents. That's where it comes from. Is that parents teach them that garbage. I saw it in my elementary school, and they refused to show the ending. Yeah, they probably didn't show you the ending because the ending would have horrified the kids. That movie has one of the most horrifying endings I've ever seen. It's just that ending will haunt me for the rest of my life. That movie. If anyone's seen the movie, you know what I'm talking about with the ending. Don't spoil it for anybody, but that was, that ending was just, what's the name of the movie? The Boy in the Striped Pajamas. Is it as bad as that Poland movie you sent me? It's also pretty gruesome, I would say that. What's your political ideology? I really tend to stay away from politics. I would say if there is a political party that I associate with the most, I would say it's the Libertarian Party. I feel like the Libertarian Party has the most reasonable views, in my opinion, out of all the political parties. Okay. There are multiple third parties in the US, but they really have no power. Do you think Dmitry Raskolov used reverse psychology to have Mikhail order Nico to kill Lenny Petrovich? He definitely wanted it. I don't know if that would necessarily be reverse psychology, but he did manipulate Faustin into doing it too. Even though it seems like he's trying to stop it, he manipulated him into doing it. Thank you, Mike. My family is racist. My older brothers are in the KKK. I'm sorry to hear that, Suspect 13. The one thing that I will say is, like I said earlier, is this comes from families. Is families brainwash their kids into this ideologies? Like you didn't seem to be brainwashed into that ideology. I'm sorry that your brothers fell for that garbage. the thing I will say about this is that when young people fall into these extremist groups, there's still a possibility that they can change when young people fall into those groups, because when young people can still change their minds, they can still try to get out of that, you know, hateful ideology. But once somebody becomes like an adult, if somebody is like young and they're like part of some extremist group, like a neo-Nazi group or some, you know, Ku Klux Klan garbage or some neo-Confederate garbage, if they're like into that stuff when they're young, there's a chance they could change and they could become a better person. Like, they might realize they're wrong, like, later on in their lives. But if somebody's like an adult and they're in those groups, like, they're an adult, like, I would say, like, they're, you know, past their 30s into their 40s and they're in that group, the chances of them changing are very little to no. Like, they probably will never change at that point. It will be like it'll probably be yeah, it's probably almost impossible for them to change at that point. I will say though, there was this black guy that I forget the guy's name. His first name I remember was Daryl. I don't remember his last name, but basically what he did was he did something really dangerous, and the really dangerous thing that he did is he tried to befriend like Ku Klux Klan members. So this is like a black guy that tried to become like friends with KKK members, which is, like I said, it's really dangerous. But he ended up doing that, and he basically convinced like over 100 people to leave the Ku Klux Klan. It was like 100 something, and how he did that is he just responded to them with kindness. It was just nothing but kindness, no hate, no argument, just nothing but kindness. And basically the Ku Klux Klan people, they're just used to nothing but hate. They're used to nothing but just talking crap, and when they're talking crap to somebody and they're being racist to somebody constantly, and somebody does not respond aggressively to them, they just keep responding to them with kindness, they start to question their own ideology at that point. So that's how he managed to convince so many people to, like, leave the KKK. I think if we took his approach and we used it on, like, a grand scale, I think that we could, like, you know, completely destroy groups like the KKK, destroy these neo-Nazi groups and all the other stuff. But that's basically it. He just did nothing but kindness, and that's how he managed to basically convince so many people to leave these groups. I wonder what Hitler would have thought of the KKK. Well, here's the thing about this, is that if the Nazis controlled America, they probably would have ended up killing a lot of the KKK people also. And that's what I'll say, is that's how stupid a lot of these people are, because the vast majority of a lot of the KKK people are like really ultra-religious, like nationalists, like they're Christian nationalists. And what I will say about them is the Nazis hated Christians, like they despise Christians. And so these, there's actually a pretty funny scene I know in the Wolfenstein games, where when the Nazis control America, there's like an SS soldier that's basically just harassing a bunch of like Ku Klux Klan members. So a lot of these people that like support these groups, they don't even realize that that these same groups would probably have killed them. And that's why I will say that the Slavs, the Slavic people, like the people in Eastern Europe, I will say, like the Polish people, the Ukrainians, the Belarusians, the Russians, who like support neo-Nazism, those people are like the stupidest people on this planet, because the Nazis despised Slavic people. They hated Slavic people. They thought the Slavic people were inferior to them. And what the Nazis eventually planned to do is they planned on genociding all the Slavs in Eastern Europe. They were going to kill every single Slavic person. They were going to enslave the rest, and the other ones they were just going to deport past the Ural Mountains to Siberia. So if the Nazis had won, they would have genocided all of Eastern Europe and killed all the Slavs. When it comes to the French, the Norwegians, the Dutch, the Danish, the Nazis were going to Germanify them. They were going to basically force them to learn German over time, and they were going to destroy their culture. But when it came to the Slavs, they were going to kill all the Slavs. They were going to eliminate all of them. And the fact that, like, somebody can be a Slav, somebody can be, like, Polish, Ukrainian, Russian, you know, Belarusian, and they think that, like, Nazis are, like, good people. Those people are idiots. Like, the Nazis would have killed them. Like, the Nazis would have used them as, like, as muscle, and then they would have killed them when they didn't need them anymore. That's basically what, that's the same exact thing that the Nazis actually did, is they actually used a lot of Slavs as muscle, and then when they didn't need them anymore, they killed them during the war. Hey man, I'm on break. How are you? I'm doing good, Nikki. Thank you for the super chat. Does anybody need help with a casino heist? I can help you out now. Have you heard of Dietrich von Schallitz? He was the German administrator in Paris during the occupation. He disregarded Hitler's orders to reduce Paris to ruins and put up minimal resistance. Yes, I know about him. He's the guy who refused to blow up the Notre Dame, and he refused to blow up the Eiffel Tower. He basically said that he was an admirer of French culture and French history, and he couldn't bring himself to destroy all of these monuments. And he said that he realized that his leader was a madman. He ended up surrendering to the French resistance, so I know the guy that you're talking about. I don't know if you know Fisher. Do you know Fisher in Call of Duty World War II? Fisher in Call of Duty World War II is actually based on him. But basically, the next part of Call of Duty World War II that I'm actually uploading is going to be the Liberation of Paris mission, and I actually am going to talk about him. So I actually already talked about him. It's kind of crazy you asked me that question, because I actually talked about that historical figure in the next part. Okay, who needs help with a casino heist? Just invite me. No. Who the hell are you? Who the hell are you? Okay, hang on. Okay. His funeral was attended by French soldiers and officers as well. I know that he visited Paris in the 1950s, but when he visited Paris in the 1950s, he didn't really get harassed by people, so a lot of the French people didn't really have anything against him. What is a libertarian? Somebody who believes in small government, as minimal government as possible, lower taxes, free market. They believe in individual liberty. They believe in free speech. They are totally against censorship. They are, for gun rights. They are for non-interventionism when it comes to foreign policy. There's a list of just basically that's minimal government intervention in your lives as possible. That's pretty much it. Okay. How much of your historical knowledge is based on things you learned in school versus the things you looked up on your own? The vast majority of my historical knowledge is not from school. It's actually from me learning stuff on my own. Is centrism and libertarianism the same thing? No. A centrist is going to have both right-wing and left-wing views, but libertarians tend to be on the right, but it's kind of like a different kind of right. If you were to compare libertarians to really any, political, the United States has never really had a libertarian president. They never have. I would say the only libertarian president that the United States has ever had is probably George Washington. George Washington is probably the only libertarian president that we've ever had. But like the United States really has not had any libertarian presidents in its history. There is one guy who actually is a libertarian president, and I think he's like the only libertarian president in the world. What's the guy's name? Damn, I remember I was reading a bunch about him, but now I can't remember. What's the president of Argentina's name? What's his name again? I'm trying to remember his name. I'm forgetting it. His name. What's his name again? The president of Argentina. What's his name? Milei. That's I don't know how I forgot his name. Milei is the only libertarian president that I can ever think of. Like, and the thing is, him becoming president of a country like Argentina, that's like the first. Because that's the first time that we've ever really seen a libertarian as president. We've never seen a libertarian as president. But yeah, I'm very curious what he's gonna do as president of Argentina. I think that people should give him a chance to do what he wants to do, because like in like a couple years from now when his election is coming up, we can then just look at him and see if he was a good president or a bad president. But I think that people should give him a chance. because that's like the first time that I've seen a libertarian actually become president of a major country. Why don't we vote for libertarian parties across America? Because the reason that libertarians lose pretty much every single election is because they have no chance. Because libertarians, while libertarians have a very small voting bloc, and even a lot of people that have libertarian views are not going to vote libertarian because they're the other two major parties that are in the country. Conveniently for the U.S. empire, because of him, Argentina didn't join BRICS. Actually, no. The reason that Malay didn't join BRICS has nothing to do with the United States or pressure from the United States. Argentina was actually on its way to join BRICS. The reason that he pulled out of BRICS is because BRICS has two members of it, that Russia and China, who are pretty authoritarian countries, and he didn't want to be in BRICS. Like, he's even said that. He said that he doesn't want to be in BRICS with, like, authoritarian countries. And also, he felt that if he was in BRICS, that China would take advantage of Argentina's economy. And Javier Milei really hates communists. Like, he really does not like communists, and he really hates the Communist Party of China. And so he does not want to be in anything associated with the Communist Party of China. That's ultimately why he pulled out of BRICS. It's nothing to do with pressure from the U.S. government. That's the main reason. You should look up into his policies. He stated the reason he left BRICS was because he didn't want to be in an organization with China. He even said it. Okay, swipe here. And also, if you look at a country like India, India is not pressured at all by the United States. India makes a lot of decisions that is very counter to what the United States wants, and even India is reevaluating its commitment to BRICS. Because India does not want to be in BRICS with China too, because China has caused India so many problems. Like, China has harassed India on trade, and not only that, they have also violated India's borders. And India basically is, like, looking at this, and they're saying, we're supposed to be allied with China, and, like, China keeps violating our borders. So, it's like, that, you know, Malay looked at that too, and basically said, yeah, no. So... I think that Malay is definitely a smart guy. I'm very excited to see what he does for Argentina, because I've never, like I said, we've never seen a libertarian become president of a major country, so I'm really excited to see what he does. I'm gonna get the left side. Even Russia has issues with China. Yes, they do.
See the artwork? It's worth more than its weight in gold. Cut it out of the frame and pack it up. I'll keep you updated on the gas, or more precisely, the excruciating and the irreversible nerve agent. There's only so long our hacking team can delay it. And trust me, when that timer runs out, you're gonna want to be long gone. There's a set of lockboxes in here.
I hate how, is centrism bad? No, it's, look, no political affiliation is bad. You know, right, left wing, and center, none of those are bad. They're all just a matter of opinion. The only political viewpoints are bad are extremist viewpoints, like communism or Nazism. Like, those are bad. But, like, just, you know, left, right, center, doesn't matter. You know, those are just opinions, that's all they are. The extremists are just the bad people, and you know... Oh, crap. Fixated, can you put a charge on door A?
Alright, I'm coming.
The Chinese Communist Party is horrible. And look, you know, the thing is, though, is that I think that people tend to ignore Chinese imperialism a lot. I'm no fan of U.S. imperialism, don't get me wrong. I hate the CIA. If I was president, I would, like, abolish the CIA. they cause so many problems internationally and so many coups, but the thing is, there's so many people that ignore what China does. Like, they ignore what China does. And whenever you bring up anything bad that China does, those same people that defend China, they'll be like, well, what about when America did this? Or what about when America invaded Iraq and stuff like that? You know, you can be against stuff like that. You know, you can be against the Iraq war. It was a pretty stupid war. But I don't understand, like, why they bring up, like, you know, stuff like that. The whole reason they do that is to basically, the reason that they do that is to get the argument away from criticizing China. It's pretty much whataboutism. That's what it is. What about Marxism or socialism? That's communism. Well, Marxism is communism. Socialism is not fully communism, but it's also bad. It's, I will say, though, oh, crap, I gotta move out here. Crap, okay, getting out here. The thing I'll say about it, though, is that, oh, crap, I swiped it by accident. Didn't work. Okay, swipe again. Here, go. What I will say about socialism is that, there are people out there that spread a lot of propaganda, a lot of nonsense, and do you know what I hate the most? One thing that really pisses me off when I'm discussing, like, stuff like this with people, when I hear people say, oh, you know, socialism works because, like, Norway, Finland, Sweden, and, like, Denmark do it, and they're like, you know, Scandinavian countries are socialist. Scandinavian countries are not socialist. Scandinavian countries do not own the means of production. There's still private industry in those countries. Those countries are more like social market economies. Like, you know, they're still capitalist. They're not socialist countries by any means. You know, in Norway and, like, Sweden, for example, the government in those countries owns, like, a lot more, the public sector is bigger in those countries than, like, America. Like, the healthcare is public sector, education is public sector too, transport is largely public sector. But do you know what's not public sector in countries like Sweden, Norway, and Finland? Food. Food is not public sector in those countries. So the government doesn't control farms. The government doesn't control private factories, private industries. So, and also is Scandinavia, Norway, and Finland and Denmark do not kick out foreign investment. So, like, if I'm an American businessman, right, and I go to like, Sweden, and I say, like, you know, I want to build a factory in Sweden, and, you know, I want to start, you know, expand my company in Sweden. They'll say, okay, you know, I might have to go through their procedure. I might have to go through, like, some documentation and stuff like that, but they're not going to ban me. They're not going to, like, you know, they're not going to say, oh, you know, you can't open your, you know, your business here in Sweden. They'll actually welcome it. If I want to open an American business in Sweden, they'll welcome it. Now, the only socialist country that I can think of at the moment is Venezuela. Venezuela is a socialist country because Venezuela has basically nationalized everything. Everything. Saying they own everything. Gasoline is nationalized. Food is nationalized. Most factories are nationalized. Grocery stores are nationalized. It's ridiculous. It's like people, when people go for food, to buy food in Venezuela, they, like, put their fingerprint on in a supermarket, and, like, it's like a ration, like in communist countries. It tells you how much food you can buy, like, in a week. And my mom, when my mom saw that, she started crying when my mom saw that, and she got really upset because she remembers the same thing happened in Poland when she was growing up, when Poland was under communism, that she had, like, a ration card, and the government would tell, you know, how much food you can buy in, like, a week. So, you know, the socialist country out there is Venezuela, and you can see what Venezuela is like. It's not Norway, Scandinavia, or Sweden. So, personally, is you can make the argument that the Norwegian model works. You can make you definitely can make the argument for that. I mean, Norway has higher living standards than America does. It does. But if you're trying to say that Norway is you know, socialist, you're an idiot if you say that, because it's not. It's Venezuela's a socialist country. Okay, let's go here. And honestly, I think I personally like the socialism that a lot of these college kids like the socialism these college kids like believe in, because you see, like, it's mostly like rich college kids. If you notice, that's like rich college kids that are mostly the ones who are like pushing this stuff, like, oh, communism is great, you know, socialism is great, you know, stuff like that. So it's like kids that are born into, like, and it's kind of, isn't it ironic how, like, the same kids, like, these kids that are born into, like, rich, spoiled families, they're born into rich families that go to colleges, and they accuse everybody else of being privileged when they're actually the most privileged people out there. So, like, these kids, I will say, is, like, the solution would be is have these kids spend like 1 week in Venezuela. Just have them like live 1 week in Venezuela and be like, okay, this is what you want in America, right? And I personally think that would change a lot of their minds, just spending like 1 week in a country like Venezuela. And I don't have anything against people in Venezuela, but I just cannot stand that government, and that government is like, you know, really corrupt, and it's a piece of crap. The question is, who is worse, the Communist Party of China or the Soviet Union? It really depends on what time period. Because if you compare, like, Stalin's Soviet Union to today's China, Stalin's Soviet Union was much worse than today's China. But if you, like, compare, like, you know, the Soviet Union in the 1980s, the Soviet Union in the 1980s was not as much of a threat as, like, as even the Communist Party of China today. Okay, I'll drive here. I'm Tony Montana, I'm a political prisoner from Cuba, and I want my effing human rights. I remember that line, too. What do you think of Gorbachev, the final leader of the USSR? I think that he tried. I think he tried to keep the Soviet Union intact, but I think there was... I think some of his reforms failed, and I also think that there was a lot of people who weren't listening to him. Oh, happy birthday, Jimmy.
Alright, the decoy is out. You're on your own now.
Okay, gonna try to lose these cops here. What is that cop doing in that backyard? That makes no sense, okay. He's enjoying someone's pool. Oh, crap, I thought I could go up that hill. Come on, no. I had nowhere to go. I was getting boxed in. Okay, I'm gonna lose the cops right here. Thank you, Louisiana Patriot. Thank you for the super chat. Am I gonna stream the Outlast Trials one day? Has that game already come out? Has it come out yet? Or is it out, or what? Thank you, Aussie Guy, for the super chat. And hey, I'm with a gaming group. I think it would be pretty awesome if you could say, Northwest Territories. We love your work. Well, thank you for the super chat. I just don't know what that is, so I just don't wanna, I don't wanna say glory to something that I just don't know what that is.
I'm not one to be premature. I'm not whatever they told you, but hear me when I say that we are on the verge of pulling off the single greatest feat of organized criminality this city has ever seen. Admittedly, I'm knocking
Here we go.
myself off the top spot, but that doesn't matter. We are seconds away from the history books, my friends. I wasn't sure I should come out of retirement.
I'll try to have the next part of Ace Attorney tomorrow.
Looks like a good call, yeah? Now, did someone say tequila?
It's on the PlayStation Store. Oh, okay. Thank you, Aussie Guy. Anarchism? Oh, anarchism is stupid. I think a libertarian society would work, but I think that an anarchy would not work. I think that would just be a disaster. What people don't understand about anarchy is that you're always going to have a government. It's just human nature. Is you're always going to have somebody that's going to rule over you. And what's going to happen is if we had like a totally anarchistic system, do you know what would end up happening? You would have large mercenary groups, PMCs, that would basically take over and become the new government. You have large corporations that would basically create their own police force, and these large corporations would end up becoming the government. That's what would happen. Do you think Ubisoft will make another Watch Dogs game? Imagine it takes place in New York City and you hack Times Square. I think that would be awesome, but I don't think they're ever going to go for it, though. Yeah. I think that Iran could be a very rich country with very high living standards if it never had the revolution in 1979. I think today Iran could have been an economic giant today if it, or Persia I should say, because that's what it would have been called if it never had the revolution. But Persia would have been an economic giant if it never had the 1979 revolution. That revolution basically destroyed like Iran's economic future and destroyed Iran's future in general. Sorry I can't subscribe to your channel. I have enough channels that I'm subscribed to. It's okay, Louisiana Patriot. Subscribe to whoever you want to subscribe to. And also, there was that one guy who said earlier that he couldn't buy, like, a channel membership. I kind of got lost track in my point, but I never got the chance to answer him. But I was going to say, though, that you don't have to, you know, purchase a channel membership with me. You don't have to super chat me. You don't have to do any of that stuff for me to, you know, support you, talk to you, respond to your comments. I don't guilt trip my audience into, you know, super chatting to me or donating to me. So you will never hear me do crap like that. Whenever if people ever make a super chat, I always appreciate it. But I always want people to know that it's optional. Not pressuring anybody to ever do one. And I don't want you to feel like you have to for me to like you or to respond to your comments. You're not DSP. Well, I've heard that so many times about that DSP guy. That there's like people that like they told me that he guilt trips people. Can I do a gang lore videos? I could. I actually want to do a video on all the gangs that Claude pissed off in GTA 2. Is it true when Bukele says El Salvador is the safest country in the Western Hemisphere? Yes, it's true. And that just shows you that if you have a competent government, they can fix problems. If you have a competent government that knows what it's doing, it can fix problems. And so he has turned El Salvador from the most violent country to the most peaceful country in a couple of years. I think he has like a 90% approval rating, which is insane. Like very few Democratic leaders have a 90% approval rating. That is insane. So like having a approval rating like that, it just shows you he's fixed his country. He's controlled the gangs and he's thrown a lot of these guys in prison. I don't have any problem with gun ownership, Tristan Martinez. What is DedSec group based on? DedSec is based on Anonymous. It's true. My parents are from El Salvador, and they told me El Salvador is a much better place. Yep. That guy, he's changed. He's made a massive change in just a couple years. No, the supreme leader of Iran's, all of their supreme leaders are pretty evil people.
Oh, hey. Later. Hey. All right. Bye.
I know about that, Hikari. Do you think Iran's president was assassinated by the CIA? No. If he was, there would be a war. Iran would have fired missiles at the U.S. if that had happened. They didn't do that. If anything, it's more possible that Iran actually assassinated him. That it's possible there was some kind of power struggle and they wanted to replace him with somebody else. So it's possible Iran did that. I don't have so much of an issue with it, Zach, but I just don't like it when people use the term socialism. Do you think Martin Luther King was assassinated by the CIA? That's actually a big possibility. We don't know that fully. It is a possibility. I know that Martin Luther King's son, is it Martin Luther King's son? It's one of his family members who I know thinks that the CIA did it. So honestly, I would not be surprised the CIA had some kind of role in his death. I wouldn't be surprised. You know, that's the CIA are some pretty bad people. They've done some pretty bad things throughout history. Who would win in a gang war? The Saints from the reboot or Dax and the Fooligans? Dax and the Fooligans. Yeah. You know, I actually did a poll once, and I asked who would win in a fight, the Saints Row reboot characters or Wade, and everybody voted for Wade.
You know this place?
Wade won that poll. Oh, I guess I'll just do it another time than Wasabi Guy. I promise I'll do it another time. The next one I'll do it. And I'll do a big poker stream on Red Dead. Next one, If Bukele action caused some people to yell human rights to criminals, what kind of line Bukele should not cross? Well, I will go to Vault 108 in Fallout 3, yes. About Bukele, here's the thing is, you know, a country like Norway, for example, they say that their prison system works because they have very humane prisons and they have a very low crime rate. But El Salvador had a very extreme gang problem. LS13, Mario Salvatruche 13, a lot of issues in El Salvador, a lot of gangs, cartels that were, you know, had huge influence over the country. Bukele did the opposite of what Norway did. He went, you know, completely tough on crime, no toleration for it whatsoever. He built giant federal prisons to house these gang members, and he's taken so many gang members off the street, and it's reduced so much crime. And what Bukele did would never happen in America. It would never happen. The reason for that is because what Bukele did, it worked. Don't get me wrong, it worked. It did reduce crime. But it would not ever happen in America because it would violate the First Amendment. Because in America, it's not illegal to have a gang tattoo. You can't have you can have a gang tattoo in America. That's not illegal. You can even associate with a gang. So in America, in most places in America, it's not necessarily illegal to be a member of a gang. It's illegal to commit crimes as part of a gang, but being a part of a gang is not necessarily illegal, at least in most places, because that's considered free speech. It's part of the First Amendment, who you associate with, what tattoos you put on yourself. What Bukele did was, he basically did, if anybody has gang tattoos, you're getting arrested. Even if you didn't do anything, if you have like a tattoo of a gang, and you're getting thrown in prison. That was basically what Bukele did. And not only that, he also, if you associate with a gang, if you're part of a gang, you're getting thrown in prison also. So it worked. It did clean up crime. It did, you know, get a lot of these bad people off the streets. But like I said, it would never happen in America because in America, you know, it's considered a First Amendment right to be able to tattoo what you want on your body. So you can't, so it would just never happen in America. You can make the argument it's good or bad, but I'm just saying lawfully, why it would never happen legally in America because of that. Did you know that Finland used to be part of the Russian Empire until 1917? Yes, and Finland actually fought their own civil war, and the communists actually lost in the Finnish war. Do you think a game series like Watch Dogs can learn from GTA 6 and improve when it comes to making a game that's better than Watch Dogs Legion? Well, I think they can, but I think Watch Dogs is finished. I think even GTA could learn something from the original Watch Dogs games too, but Watch Dogs is really finished. It's the developer there's a report that came out where the developer said, you know, we're not, you know, supporting Watch Dogs anymore, and Ubisoft never denied the report, so it's probably true. Thank you, Mike, for the super chat. How can you see North Korea and South Korea reunited? North Korea and South Korea is never going to reunite. It's never going to happen. Even if North Korea, the dictatorship becomes abolished, they're not going to rejoin South Korea. It would never happen. And also, here's what people don't understand about North Korea and South Korea. People compare North Korea and South Korea to East Germany and West Germany, but East Germany and West Germany are vastly different. They're very, very different. East Germany is oftentimes called the North Korea of Europe, because East Germany was even more authoritarian than the Soviet Union. But about East Germany, does anybody know the two major differences between East Germany and North Korea? There's two major differences between those two countries. Does anybody know what those two major differences are between East Germany and North Korea? We're not talking geography. We're just talking more of how their country functioned. DHC called me Poppy for Father's Day. I'm happy. Thank you, Fernando. Yes, wealth is there. Here's the thing is, people in East Germany were living way better than people in North Korea. You know, they weren't, I wouldn't say they were rich, you know, they were, you know, there was still a controlled economy, but they had better lives than the average North Korean. And here's the thing is, as bad as East Germany was really bad, people weren't starving in East Germany. People weren't dying from hunger in the streets. People are dying from hunger in the streets in North Korea. And another thing about East Germany is the vast majority of people in East Germany were aware that life in West Germany was better. They knew that because stuff would constantly get smuggled into East Germany from West Germany. They were able to see West Germany even from the Berlin Wall. They were able to see what West Berlin looked like. They were able to see how West Berlin was flourishing and had all these lights, and East Berlin didn't. So people in East Germany were aware that life in West Germany was better. People in North Korea are largely unaware that life in South Korea is better, and a lot of them are starving. Their economic situation is just much worse. The point that I'm getting at is that the average South Korean, I think, makes like 10 times more than the average North Korean. Like, it's not even close. It's like the wages they make, it's like 10 times more. And so if South Korea and North Korea ever reunited, what would happen is you would, if they reunited, you would have a lot of people that are brainwashed, but you would also have a lot of really poor people in South Korea. If South Korea and North Korea became one country, you would have millions of poor people. Because North Korea has like a population of 20 million people. So you'd have like 20, imagine that, you like, the complete south of your country is like very rich, people have like a high living standard, and then the north of your country, people are extremely poor, you know, starving. So that, South Korea would have to take care of that. And South Korea probably would not have the resources to feed everybody in North Korea. They wouldn't have the resources to take care of all that infrastructure to deal with all of that stuff. And not only that, you would probably have millions of people from North Korea that would all run into South Korea. And so you have millions of poor people from the north that would come into South Korea. And so that's why I don't think South Korea and North Korea would ever unify, because it's the economic situations between the two countries is just so different. And also, if you talk to most South Koreans today, they will tell you that they don't want North Korea and South Korea to get unified because of that reason that I told you about, because of the fact that North Korea is so poor, and if South Korea was to join them in a country, South Korea would then have to take care of everything in the north and fix all the infrastructure and everything else like that. So that's just what I'll say about that. The North Korea has to fix their country. They have to make living standards better for their country. But the problem is North Korea is just so corrupt, and they don't care at all about their people. Will you visit Cape Breton, Nova Scotia in Canada? Sure, one day. I'm always open to visiting places. Thank you, U11. Why wasn't there a Korean wall similar to the Berlin Wall? Because the Berlin Wall is a lot smaller. North Korea and South Korea, their border is much bigger. They have the DMZ, which is the most heavily fortified border in the world, but it's not like it's much bigger. Wait, what, Zach? Thank you, DHC. Well, Kim Jong-un doesn't care at all, yep. Didn't South Korea originally have a military government which just reformed to a republic democracy? Yes, they did. The same thing with Taiwan. Taiwan used to be a dictatorship, but it became a democracy. So that's... yeah, North Korea and China have largely stayed dictatorships. China has at least calmed down a little bit. It's become a little less, like, brutal as it used to be in the past. But North Korea never really toned down their brutality. North Korea is very hard to escape from. Most people that escape North Korea, they escape into China, but that's also risky because China has a law of North Korea that they will actually deport. They will deport North Koreans back to North Korea. That will possibly get them killed. What happened in El Salvador never happened in the U.S. unless you want a presidential impeachment and conviction. Yep. Well, when did these chat summaries start? Oh, well, people asking me a bunch of different questions. Somebody asked me about North Korea, and so I talked about it. North Korea only exists because China intervened in the Korean War. Yep. Yeah, I would agree with you on that too, Warwick. If China did not intervene, North Korea would not exist today. Yeah, I would agree with you on that. There are plenty of North Korean defectors in South Korea. Not as much as you think. Maybe, how many? Like, you know, a couple thousand? You know, it's not as much as you think. Let me see. How many North Koreans live in South Korea? Let's see. 31,000 North Koreans. So I thought that it was 100,000. It's even less than I thought. It's not as much as you think it is. Oh, okay, Art. Hey, Pro, Vietnam was a missed opportunity during the Cold War. If the U.S. government told France to recognize Vietnam's independence, Ho Chi Minh might have sided with the U.S. And this is the last point I'll answer historically. The mistake... Do you know what the U.S.'s biggest mistake in the Vietnam War was? Their biggest mistake diplomatically was the fact that they supported France. That was the United States' worst mistake because the vast majority of Vietnamese people, whether they were in the north or the south, hated the French and they wanted the French gone. They wanted the French out of their country. They were tired of French colonization. And so the U.S. made a massive mistake by supporting France in that. The U.S. basically should have been calling for, democratic elections in Vietnam. That's what they should have been doing. But here's the thing is, if the U.S. never supported France in the Vietnam War, or the first Indochina War, I would say, is Ho Chi Minh was still a communist. Even if the U.S. basically said, okay, we recognize, Vietnam's independence, Ho Chi Minh was a communist, going back to, like, the 40s, 30s. He spent a lot of time in the Soviet Union. This is before the U.S. even supported France in the Vietnam War. So Ho Chi Minh was a communist even before the whole thing happened. So the fact that Ho Chi Minh would just change his ideology and just start liking the United States, no, I don't believe that. Yeah. Then there's My Lai. Well, My Lai is the worst war crime the U.S. Committed during the Vietnam War. I will agree with you on that. But when I was saying the worst thing diplomatically the U.S. did, I said diplomatically. The worst thing the U.S. did was when they supported France during the Vietnam War. The U.S. probably thought we were repaying the French for their help in the Revolutionary War. Not really. That was more of, if anything, you could make the argument that was World War II. The reason that the U.S. was supporting France in that conflict is because the U.S. knew what to expect with France. They were scared that if France got kicked out, that the communists might take over Vietnam. That's what they were scared of, ultimately. And so it was a mistake. They never should have supported France, because France was an empire. I do work out at the gym. I was actually at the gym yesterday. Would you compare the Islamic Guards of Iran to the Imperial Japanese Army? They are both known for their zealotry and devotion to their leaders. Their supreme leader is like a god to them. Yeah. They would probably die for their leader. They would sacrifice themselves for their leader. Yep. Well, Lee Kuan Yew, Lee Kuan Yew, about him, he never wanted to get kicked out of Malaysia. He wanted to stay part of Malaysia, but Malaysia kicked Singapore out. The reason that Malaysia kicked Singapore out is because most of the people that were in Singapore were descended from the Chinese. And while Malaysians were a different ethnic group, I forget what the ethnic groups are called, I'm sorry for that, but I know the majority of people that lived in Singapore were a different ethnic group from the majority of people in Malaysia. And so Malaysia did not want this large ethnic group in their country. It's a pretty racist view. And so they thought that they were going to take away votes in their elections, and so they kicked them out. It's very rare that a country will kick another country out. Usually other countries don't want to lose territory, but they actually kicked Singapore out. And honestly, that's one of the biggest fails in history, is the fact what Malaysia was hoping would happen is they were hoping that when they kicked Singapore out, that Singapore was going to fall apart economically, and they were going to beg to rejoin Malaysia, and then they were going to have to rejoin Malaysia on Malaysia's terms. But what happened was Singapore actually succeeded. They turned into an economic giant, and they're now richer than Malaysia. So that was probably one of the biggest fails in history, is kicking out Singapore, because we were hoping that they would fail, and they turned out to be more successful than the country that kicked them out. But yeah, that's what I'll say about Singapore. The U.S. government told the UK government to let go of their colonies. Churchill was furious after his conversation with Roosevelt because of that. That I do know. Yes, Roosevelt hated empire. He basically told Churchill that they should withdraw from their empire. Churchill tried to preserve the British Empire. That is true. Why are the U.S. and the Vietnam now allies? The U.S. and Vietnam are not allies. They're trading partners. They're friendly trading partners. And here's the thing: is we're not allies with Vietnam, but we get along with Vietnam. That's what I'll say. There's a difference between being allies with somebody and getting along with somebody. The reason we get along with Vietnam's government today is because Vietnam is an authoritarian government. It is a dictatorship today, but Vietnam is not interfering in our country. They're not trying to mess up our trade. They're not screwing us over with tariffs. So that's why we have a more friendly relationship with Vietnam, where the relationship with China is more hostile, because China is constantly interfering in our country. Vietnam isn't doing that. So that's the difference. It's a city country. That's what Singapore is. You see, yeah, I guess I'll be, I guess I'll be going here, guys, then. I'll be wrapping up the stream here. What if Malaysia allowed Singapore back into their country unconditionally? Singapore would not want to rejoin Malaysia, even if Malaysia offered it to them today. They wouldn't. Yeah, I will wrap up the stream here, guys. I will have another part of Call of Duty World War II up tonight if you want to check it out. What I meant by GTA 6 retconning some of GTA Online, I'm asking... Well, they're probably not going to bring back those futuristic vehicles. They just probably won't mention them in GTA 6. But I will be going here, guys. Thank you guys for hanging out with me. You guys are awesome. Thank you guys for supporting me on the stream. It's always a lot of fun talking to you guys, chatting with you guys, playing with you guys. I will see you guys on the next one. Take care, everyone. Have a wonderful day, guys.